Perdóname porque no soy capaz de hablar español durante 25 minutos. Pues, por respeto a tus orejas, hablaré en inglés. So, as you told, I was the head of product and growth at Deezer. Everybody knows Deezer, music streaming company. Okay. How many of you use Spotify? You're all fired. The first time when I arrived, the first day, as the head of product and growth, I had a one-to-one with the CEO. And I asked him, okay, what do you expect from me? And the guy said, oh, nothing, just beating Spotify. Yeah, no pressure. Externally, I was just like, internally, I was like that, brace, brace, brace. You know, just like the guys at Winterfell in front of the White Walkers. So on my first day, I told my teams, okay, guys, we're not going to beat Spotify. We're not going to beat Spotify on their field. That's impossible. But I want all of you to work together, user researchers, product managers, and data scientists, and find patterns of behavior. I want to understand why our users are doing what they're doing. And we learned two things during that research. The first thing is that whatever you do, your users always find a way not to use your product as you designed it to be. And usually, they lose value by doing that. And you lose retention, but let's be clear, that's your responsibility. The second thing we learn is that they are all liars. They all lie. They tell you during interviews, yes, I'm going to do that, and they end up doing something completely different. So in my mind, I say, okay, we need to differentiate from Spotify. We need to find a way to be different. We need to know if we need to make that pass better or that pass awesome. And we found that system. That system allowed us to gain 33% more subscribers within a year, 47% more daily active users within a year, and it allowed us to raise $180 million and become a unicorn. And that's what I'm going to give you during that 25 minutes, in three parts, actually. The first part would be, it's broken, trying to understand intuition versus behavior, and what is the link between the two. The second part, I give you a framework so you can understand what really drives users to do or not to do something. And the third part would be how you can use that framework within your product to build sustainable engagement. So let's start with intuition versus behavior. How many of you take New Year's resolutions? Okay. How many of you respected just only once your New Year resolutions? Usually, you know, for example, a gym club. You know the business model of the gym club. You know, you pay for that and you never go there. Why? Because he has a kryptonite, the chocolate cake. You know the little brownies we had during the coffee and during lunch? That's exactly that. That's the worst enemy of the gym club. The gym club, it's the intuition, it's the intention. And the chocolate cake is the behavior. Intention is not what your users want to do. It's what he wants to do. I explain, he doesn't want to go to the gym club. He wants to go to the gym club. That makes all the difference. The behavior is actually what he's really doing. What's the link between the two? Let's take another example. You all know Fortnite, the game. You know there are maps in Fortnite. If you talk to a 13-year-old, he knows the map by heart. He knows every tiny detail of the map. That's really impressive. And when you talk to the same 13-year-old and you ask him, is this a map of Europe? Do you know all the capitals from Europe? This is the result. Why, actually? These are just two maps, okay? But the Fortnite one, it's about long-term intrinsic motivation. Intrinsic motivation is the fact that he wants to be able to learn it by heart so he can be better in the game. So there is meaning for him. The other one has absolutely no meaning to it. What for? I don't care about that. That's not intrinsic. So if the possibility of a reward, of a punition, is not large enough, he just won't learn that map ever. So the link between the two it's just the motivation. It's the reason behind the will and the action. But you're all product managers. It means that there's something you use every day, a term that everybody uses, engagement. Engagement, I had to define it, it's the will and the action from a user to invest his attention within your product. That's the definition of it. It means that if you have no motivation, you have no engagement. So what really drives people? Well, I'm going to give you that framework. It's called the octalysis. And there are 8 core drives that you can use to understand the motivation of every human being. Let's deep dive into the 8 core drives. The first one is epic meaning. The fact that you taking part in something that is bigger than you. For example, Waze or Wikipedia. The difference between Waze and Google Maps is that if there's a problem on the road, you insult Google Maps. But the first reflex, if you're on Waze, is to click on it and say, yeah, there is a problem, and you're happy. You're happy to say, yes, there's a problem on the road, I took my part in beating the traffic. The second one, development and accomplishment, everything about skills, everything that you develop, challenges. Roughly, Strava, or Relatedness, for example, or Open Classroom for the MOOCs. Third one, empowerment of creativity and feedback. All the creative process that you do every day as product managers is linked to that. Test and learn. For example, Lego, but also Snapchat when you use filters. What you want is that you create something and you're waiting for feedback. Ownership and possession, everything that you own. Money, of course, but your avatar in Fortnite. It could be your playlist in Deezer, or your profile, or all your connections on LinkedIn. It's something that you don't want to lose. The fifth one is social influence and relatedness. Everything about social interactions. Positive ones, well, when you have friendships, but also not that positive ones. For example, in Instagram, when you take a look at people that are just most beautiful than you, or Apple, when they're creating a social norm. The sixth one, scarcity and impatience. You want something because you cannot have it right now. Visa with the infinite, for example, or Game of Thrones. Oh, I want Cersei to die in every possible way, and you run with that, of course. Seventh one, unpredictability and curiosity. What's new? What's next? Who's good at that? Netflix. You know, the 5-second thing, so you don't have to go and take the remote control to say, no, I got it too. May it's 11 p.m. Okay, you're Spanish. It's 1 a.m. I got to go to sleep a little bit. And of course, Twitter. Every signaling to the feed because you want to know. You're just filling up the emptiness of your life when you're waiting for a bus, for example. That's about it. And the last one, loss and avoidance. Loss and avoidance might be the most powerful one. You know the fear of missing out? You know who's the best in doing that? Booking.com. Oh my God, they're good at that. You feel a pressure. You want to go on holidays and you feel a pressure to do that. That's just a paradox. And AXA, when you buy an insurance, I think there are people from AXA here. Yeah. I started my career in AXA. Okay, we created a product academy with them in Paris. When you buy an insurance, you just don't want, if there is, I don't know, your house burning, to be homeless. So you play with that. That's not bad, actually. Okay. These are the 8 core drives that you can use. So I'll let you take the picture if you want. What's amazing is that everything that is below the middle works with pressure. You pressure your user. All the things that are on the top, you feel no pressure. That's exactly why you don't go to the gym every day. Let's apply it to Facebook, because I can understand that's a bit abstract. Facebook. Does Facebook has a meaning? I'm sorry, no. No, that's all. No meaning. Accomplishment. What do you think? But a little bit, just a little bit. When you complete your profile, you have more friends than your brother-in-law, for example. That's a kind of accomplishment. Empowerment of creativity and feedback. Well, all the games, Farmville. Oh my God. Farmville, when you share something that you found funny, and you expecting your friends to like it. Ownership. Oh, yeah. Everything that is on Facebook, it's your profile. The photos, the friends' memory, then the privacy, yeah, should be. Theoretically, it should be. It should be yours. It's not. Spoiler alert. The social, of course. That everything to social device like the stalking, You know that the first use of Facebook is stalking your ex-girlfriend or ex-boyfriend to take a look at his new boyfriend or new girlfriend and say, oh yeah, he's not even as good looking as I were. Scarcity. Well, if you know The Social Network, the movie, well, you'd say no since 2004, when you couldn't be on Facebook if you were not at Stanford. Now, well, they've overcome it. And predictability. What do you think? But yeah, that's their game. It's like in a casino. You get back to it every day. And that's why their main metric is DAU divided by MAU. All they want is that you come back to them. And avoidance, yeah, because every time you have a lot of ownership, you don't want to lose it. That's why they give you memories. 3 years ago, you were doing that. Because if you delete your account, you won't have it anymore. So it's not enough to uninstall the application. Because that's sunk cost fallacy. Is that okay for your view? You understand every one of these core drives? Okay, go on. Wonderful. So, how to apply that to your product? I guess if you're all product managers, what you've been doing during the 5 last minutes is that. Okay, what do I have in my product? I'm going to go back on Monday and do that. Well, it's not bad, okay? It's not a fault, but there is something to do before that. It's asking you that question. What would user success look like and why? Because your product is not an end, it's a mean. You never listen to music just to listen to music. You listen to music to read or to spend time with people, to be excited before going on stage for a conference, for example. It means that you need to rebuild your personas based on that framework. Because every one of your persona has a specific set of core drives. And you cannot know that if you don't do customer interviews. And then you mix it with the jobs to be done, you compare, and you have possibilities of enhancement of your product. Pretty easy. Let's apply that to one obvious job to be done within Deezer, which is, I want to listen to music I like. In Deezer, just like in Spotify, but better, you have a lot of features, okay? And a lot of features that will allow you to listen to music you like. For example, I have my library, my playlist, I can follow people, they can be followed. And of course, I can't export my playlist. I wanted to stop that, but they just didn't want me to. The shareholders, okay. But I have one persona who's going to nuance that jobs to be done? Because he wants to avoid effort. Core drive 8, avoiding effort. It means that he doesn't want to spend time finding music he likes. He wants me to do that as a product. The problem is that a lot of those features won't be interesting for him. Some of them will be. So my follow playlist in following other playlists, people that are doing the job for me. But that's not even enough. Because I need to look for people who will actually provide me with music I like. So what we did is that we created an algorithm called the flow. The flow is an algorithm based on what you listen to that you just have to play so it can provide you with music you like. So by adding the flow, we changed on the framework what we added to that persona for that specific jobs to be done. Unlocking my flow is an accomplishment. Having a perfect flow is an accomplishment. Personal soundtrack is my ownership. And for avoidance, it's not that you cannot export it. It's that you cannot find it elsewhere. You don't have that in Spotify. It means that you're creating brand preference and not a pressure. You understand everything about that? Well, the problem is that's not enough. You cannot do that at the beginning of a journey from a user because your user evolves and social is experience. A noob won't be like a veteran, it's just like in a game. It means that you have to design the path toward user success. You need to start with acquisition. Acquisition is not creating an account, it's understanding the value. So it's a bit of a discovery, even before creating your account. And then onboarding, activation, etc., I need to have steps. For example, with the flow, the success is I have a personal soundtrack that I cannot have elsewhere. So we built steps, and every one of the steps are victories. Understanding flow is a victory. Unlocking a flow is a victory during activation. And of course, rediscovering music I like. You know that song that you know of, but you don't know the title. You know the guy saying, relax, don't do it, but you don't know that Frankie Goes to Hollywood because that's a crappy name, okay? But that's exactly that. You need to build the steps and the action that will allow him to go from known to the victory. It means that each desired action on your part, and I mean by that, something that will get you closer to success as product managers, must be meaningful to the user. Meaningful means gets him closer to success. For example, this action, percentage of people having done this action or set of action divided by the person that having reached the step 5. Pretty easy. Apply it to Deezer and it gives you that. People that are like 10 artists of one genre and the percentage of people that have unlocked the flow. It means that every desired action you want your user to do, if it doesn't match with the motivations, you're losing. You're losing it. That's called a drifting point. Any action that will endanger success. So when you think, okay, I want my user to do that, you need to think first, is it getting me closer to success? In Deezer, if you only like songs, just songs, not genre, not artists, you won't have a good flow. So I don't want the user to do that. I need to find a way for him to like a genre or like an artist, else the flow will be rotten. So what I take a look at is the percentage of people having liked songs divided the percentage of people not having unlocked the flow. So what you need to do is focused not on your ROI, but on your users' ROE, return on engagement. When I gave you the definition of engagement, I told you people invest their attention within your product, and their attention is a scarce resource. It means that if they invest something, they want something in return. The formula is pretty easy. Value divided by engagement. You can apply that to an action, to a job to be done, or to a whole product. For Deezer, that would be listening time divided by active time. Because I don't want you to spend a lot of time on my product. Because what you want to do is not listening to music, is listening to music to do something else. You want to lean back. So, if the algorithm of the flow is good enough, all you have to do is click on play and then forget the application and get back to it just to stop music and go to sleep. You do that for all your personas. And at the end, you will be able to link intention and behavior, the will and the action, the short term and the long term. And that is called sustainable engagement. So, to wrap it up, to build sustainable engagement, you need to find out what user success will look like. You need to design the path to success every step of the way for every one of your persona. For every step to be a victory, each desired action must be meaningful to the user. And you need to focus on your user AOE. Thank you a lot. And if you have preguntas, don't hesitate, but in English. Don't be shy.
Thank you very much for your presentation. I really, really liked it. How do you pull these theories and communicate it to all the teams and have them all aligned in your vision? Yeah.
Well, the first thing we did is we reorganized the teams, actually. We organized the team by part of the funnel. Initially, you had a team on product features, another one which is called engagement and monetization with 30 developers. So everything that was not product features was their job. That was just a mess. The marketing was responsible of the acquisition, which to me was not something that we could just accept. They're responsible now of the campaigns, but we have a team that is dedicated to what we call discovery. When I ask every team to focus on something, I ask them to focus on a metric, but I ask them to focus on taking care of the user. It's just like when you go to a restaurant. You can have the best food done in the kitchen, but if the service is crap, people won't come back. And usually a lot of product managers work on the functionalities, but not on the engagement, not on taking care of the user. So I ask them, how do you think you can contribute to taking care of the user every step of the way, and in a way where it doesn't see the seams? It must be completely seamless to him. He doesn't care that there are 20 people in the kitchen working for him. He just has one experience. So I just asked them to ideate on that. The acquisition team, what they said is that we think we are able to detect patterns of behavior even before people are creating an account. We think about proposing them not just arguments, but ways to smell or to taste a little bit the value of Deezer even before. We might be able to know if, for example, you're looking for Rihanna in my catalog, you might not be the same guy or the same persona that the one who's looking for a remastered version of Shine on Your Crazy Diamond Part 1 to Part 7. Okay. Well, it means that I have 80% of chances that you one of my 5 personas. It means that afterwards I can use arguments that work with you and a special onboarding, putting the core value that you would find in my product first. And that made a difference. That's how we had 30% more subscribers. Another question? I use the example of the restaurant. It works every time, you know. Every time there is food or something like that, people like it. Another question? Yeah. Just wait for the mic, because it's recorded. I'm one of the organizers of La Product Conf Paris, so I know if you speak just without the mic, that's the best afterwards.
Well, thank you very much for the talk. How do you identify the core values of a user?
Well, you spend time with them, definitely. You just cannot do that only with interviews, because people are liars. They don't lie willingly, okay? But they don't. There is yourself, who you are, and the self that you want people to think you are, and the self that you'd like to be, okay? And when you talk to users, you never have the truth. So you must make that with data analysis. So what we did initially is that I asked the data scientists to work on patterns. A pattern was just take a look. Let's take a look if there are people that, for example, enter every time in the album part of Deezer, and the others just on the home clicking on the top 100. And based on that, we detected the patterns and get back to talk with the customers to understand. That was really an exchange between pure data and psychology. That's why we cracked it. But it took a little bit of time.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Fabrice. Merci
Thank
beaucoup.
you. De nada.